Greetings, everybody. Richard Fulmer here, and welcome to another Richard's Rock Rambles, the first one of 2024. And let me start off by saying to everybody out there, Happy New Year. Hope it's a good one for you, and that there's lots of great music to come out, which I'm sure there will be in the world of rock and roll. So as I've done in the past, I thought what we do is we're going to have a look at bands that are having a birthday in 2024. A 50th to be exact. And first two artists we're going to look at are Canadians. One a band and the other one a solo artist. One's been going for quite some time. Well, in fact, the one had started in the 70s. The other one started in the late 60s, early 70s. Fortunately, the band is no longer with us, but the solo artist certainly is. So, what am I waffling on about here, being all mysterious? Well, the first one is the band, and that band is the band Rush from Canada, who of course would go on to become major progressive rock artists, selling out arenas and making lots of money and releasing some incredible albums. But this was right at the beginning, their debut album from 1974. In fact, it was released on March the 18th, 1974. A very different Rush. This is obviously not the band that they would later become. I guess you could call this album Zeppelin-like. There were bits and pieces where you could see what their plan was. But on the whole, it's just a pretty good hard rock album, sorry. So who was in the band? Well, Geddy Lee, who was there right up until the end, on bass and vocals. And at this stage, he had that really high-pitched vocals, which some people took a while for them to get used to. Alex Lifeson on guitar. Those two were actually at school together. And a gentleman by the name of John Rutsey on drums. And he would only last for this album. And then he would leave. He had issues with diabetes, and he was also not happy with the direction that Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson wanted to take the band, a more progressive thing. He wanted to do sort of the more Pat Travers, hard rock, blues kind of thing, and that's not what their bag was. They wanted to change up. So, and this was the only, I think, one of the few albums that was produced by Rush. They didn't have an in-house producer just yet. Of course, the drummer that came afterwards was Neil Peart, and that's where everything changed. He became the main songwriter, brilliant drummer. I mean, no disrespect to John Rutsey, but Neil Peart was on another level. So, let's see if I can show you anything inside here. This isn't a deluxe version or anything. This is just your standard CD version. There's the three guys. So that's Geddy Lee there, with that rather large schnoz of his and that long straight hair in the early days. In the middle, that's John Rutsey, and that's Alex Lifeson. And John Rutsey actually passed away. I'm trying to think when he passed away. It wasn't that long ago. I think he had health issues as well. He wasn't a healthy chap, even back then in those days. So yeah, pretty simple cover. Apparently this wasn't meant to be pink. This was supposed to be red, and I think there were some issues that came out with red instead of pink, and I suppose if you're a serious collector, you'd like to get both. I'm quite happy with this one. So, what do they say here? Geddy Lee, lead vocals and bass, Alex Lifeson, guitars and vocals, John Rutsey, drums and vocals, so he also did a bit of backing vocals. I was trying to see if they say anything else here. All arrangements by Rush. Yeah, so this was them really finding their feet. I mean, at this stage, they were still playing school halls and dances and things like that, nowhere near the big arenas that they would come to. Excuse me, I'm just going to have some coffee. New year, new mug. And this is my Led Zeppelin mug, kindly given to me by my wife. Yeah, if she knows, she knows. Right, the tracks. And a lot, not a lot, but a few of these tracks were played right up until the end of Rush's career. Simply because they became sort of crowd favorites. In fact, one track, the last track on here, Working Man, with that really cool riff. You know, Alex Lifeson, you could see he was really a great riffmeister as well as being a really good lead guitarist. And later on in the 80s, he became quite upset when the synths started to take over. And this was definitely one of Alex Lifeson's best riff albums. Working Man in particular. That track was played incessantly by some lady, I think, in Cleveland. And that gave the band some traction. Because, in those days, without social media and YouTube and everything else, radio was your thing to get your message across. And she started playing that track and it took off from there. First track, Finding My Way, also a really good rocker. Need Some Love, with some really high-pitched vocals from Geddy Lee, like I mentioned. Take a Friend, Here Again, What You're Doing, In the Mood, Before and After, and Working Man. It's not, this isn't a must-have in the Rush catalog, in the Rush discography, if you like. But if you're a completist like I am, then you want to get the first album. It's a really good rock album. It's not a progressive rock album, but it shows you where they were at that stage in their career, right in the early days in 1974. So that's the first one we're going to check out, Rush's self-titled debut album, when they had long hair and strange clothing. The second one we're going to look at is also a Canadian solo artist, Mr. Neil Young. And a lot of people don't like this album, On the Beach. I do, because it's dark. I like something that's edgy. I think the record company at the time were expecting him to do another Harvest. But Neil Young is a guy who never, ever follows what the record company says. He does his own thing. And he released this one, pretty dark album called On the Beach. That's him there, a rather strange cover with a car stuck in the sand there. There's the beach umbrella, and there he is staring out into the water. I read somewhere there's all sorts of strange reasons why I did this cover. You can check it up yourself. It should be on Google. And there's the plant on the beach. And there's some really strange song matter or titles or material on here, if you like. Subject matter that you wouldn't expect people to sing about, only Neil Young. Let me just see if there's anything I can show you inside here. I think this just opens up with, I think there's some lyrics or something in the inside. Or there's a letter here from a guy called Rusty RK. So that's just the bog standard CD. I think this has been re-released on numerous occasions, been given the deluxe treatment. So let's see who I can tell you about in the band here. Produced by Neil Young and David Briggs. He was one of the early guys in his career. Guitar and vocal, Neil Young. Billy Talbot on bass. Of course, Billy Talbot was part of Crazy Horse, band that Neil Young had with him. And drums and vocals, Ralph Molina. I'm not sure if they're both around still. I know that Crazy Horse still plays with him. If there's anybody else here. On the second, that was on the track Walk On, the first track. Really cool track. I just like the vibe of this album, and also the guitar tones that Neil Young gets. He gets that really screechy sound on that, what does he call that Les Paul of his? Blackie, I think, or Black, or something like that. See the Sky About to Rain. Very, very mellow track, quite somber. And on there, he had a guy by the name of Levin Helm on drums. Of course, Levin Helm was part of the band. Brilliant drummer, had his own style, unique style. Who else is on here? Then you got Revolution Blues. So Revolution Blues is a song about Charles Manson. Apparently Neil Young had come into contact with him, had met the guy, and he wrote this quite interesting lyrics to that track, actually. David Crosby's on that track on rhythm guitar. Bass, Rick Danko, another member of the band, and Levin Helm once again on drums. Then there's a track called For the Turnstiles. I really dig that track as well. And Neil Young plays banjo on that track, banjo and vocal. Vampire Blues. I love the lyrics to that song. It's actually all about oil and messing up the environment and what have you, but he's just twisted it a bit. So that's Vampire Blues. And see Tim Drummond's on bass and percussion. Ralph Molina again from the Crazy Horse on drums. On the Beach, the title track. And that's got Graham Nash on Wurlitzer piano. So there's another member of Crosby, Stills and Nash. Obviously, he joined up with them previously with Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. So he knew all the guys and everybody and knew everybody else in those days. Ralph Molina there again on drums. Motion Pictures for Carrie, it says in brackets. And the last track, Ambulance Blues, another one of my favorites. And there, Neil Young whips out his harmonica and does his thing. And this was released in July the 19th, 1974. And I think either the album after this or before this, Tonight's the Night, was also very different and very dark. And I know he'd lost that guitarist of his to heroin. So yeah, he wasn't in a good space, I think. But that's Neil Young. A dark album, but he still pulls it off. Still one of my favorites, if not my favorite, Neil Young, On the Beach. That's the second one we checked out. And the first one, of course, was the band Rush. And there, you want to see my ugly mug. And there we go, their debut, simply called Rush. So those are the first two that are 50 years old in 2024. Quite something if you think about it. It's amazing how the years just fly by. So we'll be checking out in the next couple of episodes. We'll be seeing a few more 50-year-olds. Take it easy, guys. If you're on holiday still, please take it easy on the roads. If you're back at work, I feel for you. I'm retired and every day is like Sunday. What can I say? If you haven't done so yet, please down below, give me a thumbs up. It'll be great. It really helps the channel. And any comments, more than welcome. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. And I've got loads of previous videos, a couple of years worth. And there's lots to see there. Just click on videos and you can cherry pick what you want to watch. That's guys, take it easy. And I will catch you soon. Bye-bye.